Tony Olaniyan. I belong to the Society of African Missions. I'm from Ekiti State, from a place, local government called Efon-Alai. Okay, I attended the minor seminary, St. Teresa's Minor Seminary in Okiara in Ibadan. And after my WAEC, I applied to join the SMA. And I was influenced by one priest called Father Fonsi Flatley. He taught me English and literature in English. And I applied, I was accepted. I began joining with the SMA in 2000, late 99 and 2000. I was in Kagoro, a place we call Kagoro, for a preparatory program. After then, I began my philosophical studies, and that took me to 2004. I proceeded to the International Spiritual Year in Calavi, Benin Republic. From 2004 to 2005, I did my first oath with the Society of African Missions, and I was sent for what we call stage, a pastoral year program in Perere, a place called Perere, still in Benin Republic, the northern part of Benin Republic. It was a nice experience of mission. That was when I learned to ride a bike for the first time. I learned to ride the bike. I was using the bike to go for my mission. Then in 2006, I was assigned to Kenya to do my theological studies. I was in Kenya from 2006 till 2010. In 2009, I was ordained a deacon in a parish called St. Monica, Kitengela. That was where I did my diaconate ordination by Bishop Harrington. Bishop Harrington was a bishop of Lodwar, and he ordained me. I came back home after my theology in February of 2010. I was asked to help out in St. Joseph's Gowon Estate, where the SMA parish in Lagos. I was there till I went for priestly retreat. On the 3rd of July 2010, I was ordained a priest. I've lived with people from different parts of the world, from the USA, from Ireland, from all African countries, from India, and it's been a very nourishing experience of interculturality and internationality. We see how cultures, we see how the same we are as human beings, we also see how different we are as human beings, and it's a beauty of SMA. And if I would want to become a priest again, if there's another life, I still think I would like to journey with the SMA. My ordination was an interesting experience. It really dawned on me in 2009 when I had to apply to be a permanent member of the SMA. And I'm like, wow, I'm not going back. You mean this is what I'm going to do with my life? And I thought of what could have been and would not be again. I thought of what the future held for me. I remember in 2009, as they were singing the Litany of the Saints during the diaconate ordination, I lay down there, and as they were calling the names of all those saints, I don't know, for one strange reason, tears started welling from my eyes, and I'm like, Tony, this is it. No going back, no child, no wife. And it was funny, and my classmates actually thought I embarrassed them by maybe crying, but for me, it was a very serious decision to make. And I'm glad I made it, because I really thought seriously about what I wanted to do with my life. And my heart tells me that I am where I'm supposed to be. I remember it felt odd, my dad calling me father, or my mom calling me father, and they had to kneel down for me to bless them. It was very strange. I'm used to, whenever I wake up, I prostrate to greet my parents. And I remember when I was ordained, I was going to prostrate to greet my dad, and my dad said, no, Tony, you can't be doing that again. I understand. and I have to lay my hands to bless my parents. It felt very weird, but that's a responsibility you've been given as a priest. My first year in the priesthood was challenging and exciting at the same time. I love adventure. I love to discover new realities. So I was assigned to a place called St. Joseph Rectorate in Babaso. It's called Afram Plains in Ghana. So we had two rectorates that we had to manage, two Nigerians. My parish priest, my first parish priest, Father Benedict Tinka. So we went there together. It was his own first experience in Ghana. It was my first experience as well. So two young Nigerians in this mission that was managed by the Dutch people in the past. So we went there and we made a commitment to give our best. And it was more challenging because we're two Africans, in fact, two Nigerians working together. So we're ready to give it our all. And we had about 75 outstations that we needed to manage. So I learned how to do pastoral planning, then also accounting, how you need to manage the meager resources you have, how you need to apply for grants to be able to sustain your mission. The support that the SMA gives us can only go some way. It cannot cater for all the requirements of primary evangelization, knowing that primary evangelization is capital intensive. So we had to be creative, being Nigerians. We used what we had. So my parish priest had a background in agriculture. So our catechist gave us some piece of land, about 10 acres of land. So we farmed maize. We farmed maize, we farmed granite. I think a couple of times we tried our hands on beans, and we did all sorts of things in order to be able to make ends meet, because we were working in an agricultural region and there was nobody we were going to meet to ask for money. My parents didn't have that kind of money, neither did his. So we committed the little resources, some of the things people gave us from ordination, and whatever I had, we combined it together and plowed it into farming. It was a bittersweet experience because one of the challenging moments was after committing the fund to farming, that year the rain did not fall. So when the maize were supposed to tassel, which is a very critical period in the life of maize, the rain did not fall. So all our investments went down the drain. So it helped us to feel what farmers felt. It was a very, very exciting experience, although my parish priest was cautioning me, Tony, you can't save the world. So, you know, that experience being on the bike was very, very sweet. The people were very simple, very simple. They were excited. Anytime you were able to go there for Mass was like Christmas for them. So people would bring chicken out, would prepare in the village square. The elders will gather around, we share stories, and it was a very, very nice experience. I enjoyed it. I had to learn the language. I'm not perfect in the language, but I celebrated Mass quite easily in the language. I love the singing in the languages because when you sing in the language and people listen to it, there's a kind of connection that the people have. So it was a nice, and it helped me to appreciate some things about my culture and evaluate my own culture, and it was a bittersweet experience. So I'm grateful for that experience. For the first 4 years of my life, I spent it in Ghana. I'm grateful for that experience. I think God's grace inspires me. I've been through some tough challenges in my life. Growing up was not easy. But I've always felt God's presence. I always believe that God has something for me. I don't know, but I feel that maybe God is leading me somewhere. And I always make a joke that I've always been in situations of, I've always been in places of crisis. When we went to Ghana, there was a situation, it was a situation of crisis, and we plunged ourselves into that. It was challenging, but we made they say if life should throw lemon at you, you make a lemonade out of it. So I think that's what I've tried to do with my life. I just try to be. I've always found a lot of inspiration in books, It does not have to be only Bible or only philosophy book. I read across board. So I would have idea in whatever field. I might not be an expert, but I'm a very, very inquisitive person. And I love psychology as well. So I derive a lot of inspiration from God's Spirit, God's presence upon my life. And I try to read as wide as possible. I'm grateful for the experience of interculturality and internationality. So it's one thing that the SMA is very, very strong on. The fact that we live in international community. So for instance, on Sundays in our formation houses, you are divided into groups, and in that group, you can get people from even different continents being in that group, and you decide on a meal that you are going to prepare together. So just imagine somebody from India, someone from Nigeria, someone from Ireland, and maybe someone from America trying to decide what they are going to prepare. Just imagine the confusion. But it was part of the process of formation. So one thing I've realized traveling around, being a missionary, is that human beings are basically similar. We have similar aspirations, we have similar goals. In terms of the extent, that's what may differ in terms of the work, but we all want to have good life. We all want our children to grow. So knowing that human beings we are similar, I think it helps in relating to people. I worked in Ghana. I worked in a very, very remote place. I think we're the maybe model of civilization there. Maybe the bike I was using was one of the most expensive you find around. The car, it is a car that is like the king of the road there. So, and I've slept on mud bed, I've slept on the floor, on the mat, on carton when I go to the station. Then coming from that experience to Abuja, where people are well educated. So for me, the background of philosophy and internationality does not intimidate me. So I believe the formation process has prepared you to work with people. I used to be a shy person. I still think I'm a shy person. But one of the things that my formators helped me was to try and conquer my shyness. It doesn't mean that I lose who I am, but I'm able to work with what I have. For me, working with people is energizing, is an opportunity to learn every now and then. And it's also a grace moment of listening more to people. If you listen more to people, I think it would help to grow. I have come to learn this, that you are first of all a man before you are a priest. If you are not comfortable with yourself as a person, it's very difficult for you to be a priest. You'll be faced with a lot of criticism and challenges, and if you are not comfortable in your skin as a man, because it is from your humanness that you can arrive at spiritual growth. As Henry Nouwen said, I've come to accept myself as a wounded healer. It is when you are comfortable with your wound, you feel the pain of growing up, you can be a healer to other people. If you've never felt pain, if you've never been wounded, I don't think you can be an effective priest. It is from your own wound and from the healing you've experienced that you can reach out and touch other people and heal them. So we're all called as priests to be wounded healers. Honestly, I can't express the feeling, I can't express the emotion. I can't even believe that it's 10 years already. I can't believe that it's 10 years. The time went so fast, and I didn't know I was going to be here today. I just know that I took it one day at a time. Wherever my superior sent me, I was ready to go, and I just want to please God. I want to do things that will make God happy, that God will say, "Welcome, my son, you are a good and faithful servant." And like play, it's 10 years already.